Hello, good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the Women in Political Leadership series on the Asante-Armar Foundation Facebook page. I am your host, Angela Asante-Armar, also a founding member of Asante-Armar Foundation Africa. And it's wonderful to have you join us, especially for joining us live on Wednesday, the 8th of July. This is the second installment of the Women in Political Leadership series, and really something that is to help the foundation push one of our growth and achieve one of our aims and objectives, which is, uniting specifically African women by supporting, electing, guiding them, and really encouraging them to take up political leadership in their respective countries so that everybody thrives and grows. So, welcome again. Today, I am really happy to be joined by our next guest today. Well, our first guest for today, second guest in the series. And yeah, we've got a really good show coming up for you. So, our next guest, I'll briefly be talking on the platform, is the wonderful Asante-Armar. She's a broadcaster, she's a host of this chat show, and also an avid champion of women, race, and youth issues. And Andy, as I call her, Auntie Candy, over the years she's been a regular columnist for the Accra Daily Mail newspaper called Candy's London Chat, which cover topics of interest to the Ghanaian diaspora of the Giant Heart, such as culture, women, children, food, gossip, living away from home. Basically, you name it, I think she covered that. Currently hosting, as I said, Kiki's chat show. If you want to tune in today, she'll tell you a bit more about that when she comes on to the platform. And that covers everything again, discussing issues, both really to empower and strengthen listeners, especially women, our mothers, and youth across the UK, where we both currently based, and the world at large. So, with that, I would really like to welcome on Andy Kisseih.
And hello there.
Hello.
Welcome. I will call you Auntie Candy, but please, Candy Kisseih, hope I've given you, the listeners, the viewers, a little bit of introduction about you. I'm really happy that you're joining us today. So please do greet the listeners and yeah, just let us know just a little bit more about you briefly.
Hi, listeners. I'm greeting you all. Good evening. There's not much about me. I broadcast on a show, Kiki's Chat Show, and it's really about women, for women, by a woman, that sort of thing. And I also want to empower women to do whatever it is that you want to do. It's not only politics, but anything at all that you want to do. If I am able to help you through radio or whatever it is that I can do, I will help any woman. Yes, that's me.
Wonderful. And I too, I'm an avid champion of mothers and mother figures, aka women at large. So, so, so Auntie, you just said there in terms of your passion that you have for women's empowerment, and what would be helpful, just or interesting to let us know what was your journey that led you to getting so into women's empowerment, and how long would you say you've been involved in that?
I think, apart from the fact that I come from a long line of women who have amounted to something in their lives, my aunties, my mother, my grandmother, in their communities, they have done all sorts of things, whether it's nationally or just in the village or just in the town or wherever. The women that I know are quite powerful women. I've grown up amongst them. They're a little bit wayward, which is good because you have your own mind and you stick to it and you do whatever it is that you feel could help your children, the children around you, and that sort of thing. And in our society, it's really difficult to women to stick their head up and say something. It's really different. And I don't know, as long as I can remember, I've always been like that. I do not speak too much about certain things, but I know my mind. And when I started working, I worked for a union, separate for working in broadcasting. All of that strengthened me a little bit. And then also I had my own business. That's also being a little bit forthright and stating what you want for yourself. And then the radio empowered me even more. So the fact that I have children, I have dreams for my children, I have to kind of be a strong woman enough to help my children. And I know other women are the same. And I think motherhood is one of the things that also empowers you. And then also there is this thing which I always keep saying, that women must help women, because who is your army? Your best friend is another woman who's gone through a similar journey as you, somebody who understands you, that sort of thing. And if you help women, at some point, they will come and help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you say that, because I'm sure you would also have heard that, sometimes we are accused of being, women are accused of being their own worst enemy. And I can see where that comes from. But like you rightly said, really, by helping another woman, or at least my view, by helping another woman, another mother, is like helping yourself. Each woman or girl is a reflection of you.
Yeah, when you say women are women's worst enemy, I think that is because women are always vying for the position that the men, they need approval from the man. I think a woman becomes herself and is able to be comfortable with another woman when she doesn't think she needs approval. When you're a woman and you think you are, it's a man's world, and therefore they are controlling everything. So women become selfish and single-minded because they need to get to where they need to get to with approval of the men that are in control. But increasingly, if we help each other and hold each other's hand to get to where we want to go, we don't need their approval anymore. We will be kinder.
Yes, it's very true. In that we don't seem to be able to escape that. I mean, I genuinely think as human beings, we need approval from one another. It's like a need, but it's true. We still are at the stage where, yes, so that women, there is an extent to which we feel that we do need approval from men, and that will pit us against each other, is what you're saying, isn't it? When we feel there's
I don't think I need approval at this stage. And, because the older a woman grows, the stronger she becomes. And, you become aware of your surroundings and all of that. And depending on what situation you're in, you do not need approval from a man anymore. But then, of course, all of this has to be taught. This is the whole idea of women empowerment, because you have to empower the woman or the child, the girl child. You have to educate her. Empowerment is education. And it's also self-awareness. And once they know where they're going and where they're coming from, they don't need that anymore. And you will be amazed at the power that the woman has.
The other thing that I want to touch on before we move on is what you said, is that actually motherhood is our strength. Can you speak more about that? Because I'm so passionate, obviously, being when we are, but
motherhood is definitely our strength. And if you look around, especially, an example is widows. You see a widow and her husband has died. Now, socially, you are taught that it's the two of you, you have to look after your children together. And when the man is not there, you're on your own, and it's futile. But it's not, actually, because when you look around, and I use widows as an example because the widows in my family and the widows I know around me, they are the most powerful, the strongest, because with great determination and silence, they have helped their children grow. And so from that, you realize that, but if she's doing it, I can do it too. And in fact, children who when you have a child, you become, some people, you become like a mad person, because really the determination to keep your child alive, to educate that child, to keep your child away from trouble, to keep your child as somebody in society, it's a big job. It's a massive job. So really, in your house, you're the Minister of Health, Minister of Education, Minister of, all of these things. You are in your house, and you can move it out of your house. And so, this is the whole thing about women are amazing, but we don't know it because we have been told that we're not. I mean, if you look at if you compare it with you and I, we live in the UK, and at the moment, whilst we're having all these race issues, and it's the same thing. Black people are very powerful. Black people are very powerful. They're very educated. They're very good. However, they're not being given that power. And what you realize is you don't need to be given power. You need to know what your power is. Do you see what I mean? So it's the same thing for women as well. And yes, even if you don't have children, once you know what you want, childless, not with children, whatever, a woman is a woman, and we really need to look at what can I do? What am I interested in? How do I fit in society? Those are the three questions, really, for any woman.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely powerful. But I'll take that. In terms of women who don't have children, from my perspective, and definitely the message that we push from the foundation is that actually instead of saying that, women become mothers, we look at it actually the women are mothers, or they're mother figures. Why? Because from as young as you can remember, we are reared, we are raised to nurture, to nourish, to support, to care for. It's that kind of maternal energy that we carry with us, whether or not we physically give birth. We are always will have somebody in our circle that we are playing that role for. And actually, they will say that. What do they say? A man usually goes and marries a woman that's like the mother. So they're looking for that same kind of nurturing. So actually, for me, every woman is either a mother or a mother figure. So just because you don't have children, you can still be a mother head, like a community mother or something like that. So I'm glad you picked that up, because basically every woman, none of you are left out. So the other thing that I want to touch on, because that does actually move on to something I wanted to ask you about, is the fact that in our household we are the Minister of Health, the Minister of Education. What else can we think of? The Minister of maybe Food. Lots of
sanitation and cleaning the place, food, as he said. Yeah, I mean, we are ministers of a host of things.
Exactly. So I emphasize that, because me personally, I say, and I'm saying it more often now, but in terms of, we are recognized as the homemakers responsible for the home. Whether or not it's our money that's running the home, we are responsible. We are the ones who are seen, whether we assume it or not, as being responsible for home. So now, looking at in this phase of political leadership, which is one of the things we are here to talk about, it is my view that now we need more mothers, more women to step up to take care of our homeland, our country, the motherlands, in the same way that we take care of our home. What do you think about that?
Well, Madeleine Albright said a while ago that the world is wasting a precious resource in the dramatic underrepresentation of women in leadership positions, often resulting in the exclusion of women, talents, and skills in political life. So, yeah, I mean, women can, and they do. Women are, multitaskers all over the place. And in their homes, they are in leadership positions. So outside of the home as well, they can. The thing is, everything is controlled by men. Everything is, and women are always looked at in a kind of dismissive way. A woman says something and, oh, she's emotional. Oh, she's premenopausal. Oh, she's, nobody, but a man is different from a woman. But women are stronger because they do most of all of the things that a man can do. So why are women, so this is where the whole thing of self-empowerment comes in, because people need to know, the whole book has to be rewritten, and people need to become aware that you can do this if this is what you want to do. You can, if you do it well, you can lead if this is what you want to do. That's the thing. So with your question of, is it important? Yes, it is. We always intentionally take a back seat, you see, and we should stop taking the back seat if this is what we want to do. Do you understand that? We intentionally take a back seat from doing things that we know that we could be capable of. We do not even try. Now, I want to empower women, and I always say to women, that give it a go. See if you can do it. Make up your mind that this is what I want to do, and do it. It can be anything outside of your home. You're cool inside your house. You've done it. You have already had the practice. Go outside and do some more.
Absolutely. Obviously, we would need several other shows to go into all the other things that you just mentioned in terms of not feel, intentionally taking a back seat. Absolutely. And we do see that a lot. And some, I've seen comments, I've been in conversations, some would have us believe, or men would have us believe, that it's because we are not courageous enough to step up, which to a certain degree, depending on what it is that we're stepping up for, it may be true. My view is that we so you talk about self-empowerment, and part of empowerment is taking responsibility for our actions, right? Is taking responsibility for our choices. And I think that somewhere along the line, way back, as a collective, of course, there are the exceptions, and more of us, I would say, are gaining that self-awareness and seeking and obtaining that self-empowerment. But way back somewhere, I do believe that we supported so much, like we've cultivated that habit of supporting our children first, to then grow, and then our partners, so much that it's like by the time we've given all that energy, there's nothing left for us to then step up and do what we want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of put your question statement into different pockets here.
Okay.
In our society, the society that we live in the society that you and I come from, I'll use Ghana for example, and even here up to a few years ago. Even when Mrs. Thatcher became the Prime Minister of this country, she was the first. So it was a great thing, and a lot of women voted for her. Women who were even originally in the Labour Party actually voted for her, thinking that she was going to get, because for years, and this is the truth of the matter is, a lot of women all over the world know what they want for themselves, but they are trapped in situations where some dare not even say what they want to do, because there is already a plan for you. You are married, you were born in your father's house, you are educated a little bit, then you are married. When you are married, you are respectful, you look after your husband for his advancement, and then you have children. Your children also advance. So really, there is not much for you to do outside of the home apart from being inside of the home. Slowly, because of economics and war and all sorts of things, women started working outside. Now, whilst women were working outside, even after the war, especially in this country, when the men came back, the women were then back at home while the men went to work. Now, that was also quite frustrating for these women. Now, if you go back to Ghana, it's a little bit different, because in Ghana, women do work. In my tribe, where I come from, where I'm so proud of, the women work really hard. And they are apart from being the homemakers, they go out and do business, and they work, and they look after their children. And it's a good thing. So women are empowered, in a different way. However, there is this undertone of society controlling you anyway. And the slight out of turn that you go, you then can be ostracized. So even then, slowly, women started pushing their daughters. And that's the way. So many, we've got women lawyers, doctors, chief justice, in Ghana. We've got educated women. And I think Africa is Ghana is one of the countries in Africa where women really have had strong education and have done things. In all of that, there is still parameters where you can't go over. You have to be careful. With all your education and everything, you have to be careful that you don't go over your parameters or you become a social pariah. Now, all of these things have to be taken out, and women have to be strengthened enough to go as far as they can. Here, it's called a glass ceiling, where you can work up to a certain stage and you're stuck, and you can't go further. And if you are, then it is at the mercy of the men, or because of some, it's crazy. Why can we not both be at par, where a woman can show you how far she can go? Those are my issues. Those are the things that I'm passionate about. And I wish that we have to empower ourselves. It's not something where we have to allow other people to make us do. We have to know what we can do and strive for it.
I'm glad you said that. I was just about to ask you, so then whose responsibility, whose task do you think it is to empower us? And like you said it is up to us.
It's up to us. I mean, of course, look, I years ago, I attended a women's course. It was in the House of Commons. It was political ladies who were telling us all sorts of ways how they became ministers, MPs, etc., etc. And one of the things that the woman said, which stayed with me, was that she was mentored. She was mentored, and that is the only way. She was taught the way, and not because of her interests. Now, I think everyone must try to help someone. That's my other thing, my motto. I've said it to you several times, that I would help anyone who asks me for help within my parameters, of course. So if it is through radio, if it is through whatever, if it's charity, you're doing something, you want me to come over, help you, you want me to donate, whatever it is that I can help a woman to go further, I will.
Okay. So this is interesting. I'm just picking up this comment. The fact that because we make up the majority of society, of the population, that then if there's difficulty for us to step up, then in some way are we not the ones who are, if you like, responsible for where we are at, the fact that we're not empowered?
That is a difficult thing to say, because we always say that it's society that's holding us back. And it is true. It's society that has put us in those situations where, and in all walks of life and everywhere, there are places where women, even now, there are women in marriages where you cannot even suggest that you want to do certain things because the man would be either jealous or feel. There are lots of women out there who are being domestically abused, beaten, and all of that, because they may earn more than the man. The man then feels emasculated, etc. So, and it's not, I'm not saying that it's because that's how society has created. It is something that we need to break. Society is a very powerful tool, and all of these customs, traditions, and all of this, they hold you back. They hold you in. Now, if with all the education, that's what I said earlier, there are loads of women who have all the education in the world, but they cannot move further than they're allowed. And those are the things that, how do we get out of it? If one person is doing it and invites another person and invites them, and women start growing stronger. Education also is not just educating the woman, but the child as well, educating the boy child. And so that they both realize that we can both get to here, there, everywhere. That's the only way it's going to work, because children slowly grow up, and then the disparity comes about. You can see that as they're growing, he knows that he's the boy and he can do this. And then the girl. I was in a school this is before the lockdown last year sometime. I think it was in November or something. And I was watching, I just went to pick up my friend's daughter, and the kids were having a debate. And I watched with interest the way that the young boys spoke with such command and mastery. And the girls, they were in a group and they were shy. Some of them, before they spoke, they were giggly. And I just wanted to say, I wanted to say, so I kept signing my friend's daughter and I kept giving her the eye that, go on, say what you want to say, don't be like, because I didn't understand why the girls were giggly. They had points and they knew what, but they were shy. They were looking down. Why? It's because that's how it is. And these are the things that we must stop. The kids must learn that the boy can say his bit, the girl can say her bit. And then this is where we break, it's all the mindset revolution. We have to change our mindset. Now, before we can change our mindset, we have to educate them to realize that she can do this and you can do this. And you can both do the same thing.
Absolutely. And this is and I always will bring it back to the women, the mothers, because like you said, education is not just what we learn at school. It starts way before then. And who are known as the first educators? The mothers, the women, or the mother figure in the house. So it comes back to how we can help one woman, like you were saying about mentorship. Mentorship doesn't have to be just about going on a certain career path. Any woman that you can help in any way to either start that journey or continue that journey of gaining greater self-awareness, so that she or we gain the confidence, the knowledge. Because some of us, and I can relate to this, some of us, we are, like you said, that feeling of being trapped in a situation. We can be so used to doing so many things for so many other people that we actually forget, or we make ourselves forget what it is that we wanted to do when we set out on our path before we settled down and had children, So yeah, the mentorship point is crucial. And yes, definitely bringing it back to, we need to help, even if it's one woman, your neighbor, your sister, your aunt, a colleague, to then go and do the same thing. Because we do make up the majority of society. So if we're saying society is so strong, but we are citizens, we're citizens, we're members of society. So each one of us can individually take our responsibility to do our own small part. That must make a difference, I'm sure.
Yeah, the revolution of the mind, and it's not just your mind. You have to revolutionize their minds as well. And, if, for example, and I always give this example, at this time that we're discussing race issues and, the black person against the white person, etc., we know what we go through. But if you do not teach the white person what they're doing to you and how you feel, how are they going to stop? So we need to know what we're about. We need to teach our children what we're about. Now, I'm a girl. My mother is a girl. My grandmother, and on and on and on. Now, my grandmother, she's very into education. She did adult education in her time, and she's a good example for me to tell the girls behind me that in my grandmother's time, there wasn't much education. Now, my great grandmother on my father's side, she was a midwife. And she, and so on that line, there were nurses, etc. They became great people, doctors, etc. Now, on my mother's side as well, my grandmother, who learned adult education, was determined for my mother to go have her education. And she did. She went and came abroad and did her, so education is vital. And we have to educate because it is like an armor. It is an armor which is not for you to go and fight with, but it's for you to work with and to do things with and to empower yourself and then your children. So that's what I think, and I think that's the basis of our whole life and argument.
Sure. And I just pull up this comment here from Kojo Marcus. In terms of, apparently sometimes he sees that we want it both ways. We start problems, then turn around to blame men. What would you say about that?
I think these are the issues that we don't dwell on. We don't, I will not give him airtime on this because I think that is not the discussion here today. The discussion here today is how to empower women and how to make women realize that, yes, don't do crocodile tears. There's no time for that. I've met people who have been in poverty. I interviewed a woman 2 weeks ago who grew up in poverty, but it's just the fact that through education and life chances, she has become a CEO of a bank across the whole of West Africa. Those are the issues that we need to talk about. I don't know what Mr. Marcus is talking about, and I will not even dwell on it.
I want to pick up this next comment about the fact that basically how the way my paraphrasing or what I draw from this is that actually men have forgotten that if you like, all women and girls, as I was saying before, it's like their reflection. They can respect their mothers, but somehow then they go and disrespect women and girls. And actually what we need to be teaching them is that they're one and the same. You must have that same respect.
Exactly. So and this is the whole thing. If you respect your mother, and you love you see those people there is the men who respect their mothers and think the world of them and love their daughters and think they're little princesses, but they do not see other women as human beings. What is that? What is that? What is it? That is also somebody's sister, somebody's mother, somebody's, and this is what I call the mindset revolution. We need to let them become aware that, look, we're all humans on this earth, and everyone has a gift of some sort, and we all work for the greater good. So disrespecting a woman it's just not in the program. No, it shouldn't even be looked at.
No, and even we don't realize that actually it's it has a detrimental effect on society at large, because given that we're the majority. And if the majority collectively are, let's just use the word oppressed, or even though individuals in themselves do not feel that is a collective group, that is what happens. Then, as you already said it, that a largely underutilized resource that is robbing each nation of productivity, the innovation, all these kinds of things. So yes, it's up to us to break that cycle. Time is moving really quickly, so I just wanted to touch on the fact that looking at specifically women in political leadership, we recently heard of the nomination in Ghana of the running mate that is going to be for the opposition party, the NDC in Ghana, who is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. She's just been nominated, and obviously if the party is successful, she will become the first vice president in the Republic of Ghana. And
you mean the first female?
sorry, yes, you're right. Sorry, the first female, I'm getting excited. The first female vice president of Ghana. That's right. I think that's a massive achievement, especially given what I am contesting, seeking to do myself. But I've already started seeing the commentary, basically, some may say slander, but bad mouthing her and things like that. And I just wanted to take your views on that.
Every time a woman wants to go into politics, so the first thing she's told is that politics is a dirty game, and that women can't go into politics because they'll just, So then the men who I think know of the woman's power and therefore they are a little bit threatened will go and dig deep and come back and tell you how she was this and she was that and use all the abuse in this world. So really, if for women who go into politics, they really have very thick-skinned, they really will fight through. And there are a lot of women politicians who are being abused mercilessly, constantly. However, I pray, and she's not the first woman who has been, invited to become the vice of, somebody in politics. She is the latest one.
Indeed.
Now, if NDC win, she will be a woman vice president, which would be good for herself. But what we need to see is it going to be good for all of us in Ghana, the women of Ghana, because a lot of the time, at this moment, there are 36 women MPs to I don't know. I don't know even know how many. Yeah,
it's over.
I think it's 275, or So the balance is not there. So what we need is to have a lot more women in politics, not just her being the vice president.
Exactly.
But a lot more women in politics, so that women would, with the mindset revolution, be able to help other women and then become aware of look, the economy of Ghana, all the time I was growing up, I knew that the economy was determined by the Makola women. Makola women are one of the most powerful women in Ghana. They determine what's going on, how much things cost, what the economy is. And so if that is the case, we need representation in parliament. We need women there who understand what is going on and who will be able to help women and children. And now women are closer to the children. Therefore, the future is necessary. It's necessary for these women to be able to push these children forward. These children need to see role models in society to see and determine what they want their future to be like. So for me, I don't know this lady, but I wish her well, and I hope she wins, if she will win. And when she does, it should be in a democratic way where we can all write her letters personally for her to see how she's going to help the rest of us. That's what I want. But I think she should not pay attention to the abuse, or all of these are distractions. She should not pay attention to them.
Absolutely. And Ali, it's not her first time, well, clearly not her first time there. I think she was former education minister and things. But yeah, I just want to reiterate that the point is not to have just it doesn't work when you have one soul or one lone wolf, if you like, one woman at the top of something, and she's surrounded by men. Because as powerful as we are, I defy you, you will be forced to fall in line with those around you. So she needs an entourage. She needs more people. And this is not to say that, okay, get rid of all the men. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that one woman alone, however powerful she is, will only be as powerful as the other women around her to actually make a good impact. And that impact that she would make is not just for women. Once you, I often say here, but we have this proverb in Ghana: educate a man, you educate an individual; educate a woman, you educate a nation. So by sheer numbers, by any woman empowered that's positively impacted, she will positively impact a number of people around her. So by sheer mathematics, it makes sense, But I'm glad I'm glad you brought up that point. And wow, that time has gone really quickly. So before we wrap up, as I said, Auntie Candy, as I lovingly call her, hosts a weekly show on Kiki's Chat, and I'm sure are you hosting this evening?
I'm not hosting this evening because you've eaten into my time, but that's fine. I'm hosting next week and then on. So I think you're the next person coming on my show.
Okay, well, you heard it. Yes, it's the 15th. Yes. So you can tune in to see myself and Candy Kisseih again next week on her page, or maybe, I don't know if you'll do live from YouTube, but her page, Candy Kisseih, do tune in, and we'll be talking more about motherhood and lots of other things. So do join us. And before we go, the essence of this, we've talked a lot about different things. So apart from politics, is there anything that is there any other area that you feel that as women we need more of us, that would really make a positive impact for women as a whole?
Women are everywhere, believe it or not. There are women doctors, women lawyers, women judges, women nurses, midwives, teachers, professors, lecturers. There are women everywhere. Women are in leadership positions all over the place. I think that women excel, but yet hold back and all of that. Now, it is not nice for a man to be aggressive in the same way that it's not nice for a woman to be aggressive. But I think women, once you believe in yourself and you're sure of what you want to do, you will get there. I mean, somebody's saying Theresa May in UK was surrounded mainly by men, and it's the men that ruined her. But my question to Theresa May at the time was, where was your army? Now, one of the things that I want to give you to take away, all listeners, is this.
Yes, please.
Every human being needs an army. Now, if you go in alone and you have no army behind you, the men will eat you alive. Now, even if you emulate the men and try and be bullshit and all of the things that the men do, you are not a man.
Exactly.
What you need to do, any woman in any walk of life, in any profession, when you get there, look behind you. There are women behind you, please. And if you go alone and think you have no army, and when the time comes, those men will bring you down. So whenever you are doing something, whenever you get promoted, whenever something good happens to you, look behind you and look for your army. Please. It is very important. Always remember, you and whose army? I have an army. Do you? Find your army.
Fantastic. You have a guest who wants to come and join your show, Auntie Candy. Can you see all the comment?
Oh yes, I just seen it. Yes, you can come on my show. You can find me. I am on Kiki's Chat, and Angela will connect you.
I will connect you. I'll do the honors.
Everybody is welcome to my show. And whatever it is that you want to talk about, whatever it is that you excel in, whatever it is, if you're selling, talking, chatting, I'm ready for you. if it's going to help your community, your nation, I'm ready.
Wonderful. You heard it here, folks. One woman, you see, extending her platform to others, as we should all do. So thank you so much, Auntie Candy. That's been wonderful. Great discussion. Always good to provoke thoughts. And I always say that if nothing else, we should always challenge our thinking. We get so used to thinking one way, but we should always challenge our thinking, especially in the world we're living today, where things are very unsettled at the moment. I think it does as well to challenge our thinking. So thank you very much for joining us today. I would like to, and you're welcome back anytime. I would like to thank all the listeners, the viewers watching live. And if you're watching on replay, if you're commenting, hashtag replay, and our sponsors, and we have supporters. So Embrace Yourself Coaching, Lay TV, Lugu Studios, Global Pan-Africanism Network. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. Empowered by Creativity, Uplifted Being Show. Thank you to all of you. And of course, Auntie Candy, host of Kiki's Chat Show. And if for those of you who would like to find out more or support the vision of Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa, especially in building our first and hopefully not the last Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa Village, please do visit PTOMFA. That's patreon.com/PTOMFA. It's on the banner. So without further ado, I wish you all a good rest of the day, wherever you are in the world. Tune in next week at the same time, 7:30, when we'll have our next guest, who is Amma Manson. Watch out for the post for her coming to join us. Auntie Candy, once again, it's been a pleasure. And goodbye to all of you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.